Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we take a moment to remember the beloved American figures we have lost today and in the last few days. The unforgettable presence of James Tolkan, the radiant legacy of Valerie Perrine, and the heartfelt spirit of Brendon. Alongside the heartbreaking story behind the Golden Globe-honored legacy and $180 million fortune of Jim Carrey. If these memories truly mean something to you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe, helping us continue creating more heartfelt tribute stories like this. Thank you. And now, let's begin. Ara Olsen, the beloved Canadian screenwriter behind Cop and One-Half and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, has sadly passed away at the age of 64 following complications from cancer. He arrived in Los Angeles at just 21 in the early 1980s, with little more than a quiet dream. After graduating from the American Film Institute in 1987, he earned his first credit on Red Scorpion in 1988. Then came Cop and One-Half in 1993, opening #1 at the box office. Years later, Here's to Life in 2000 brought him 8 Genie Award nominations and 1 win, a moment that stayed close to his heart. And then, things changed. As the industry moved on in the 2000s, his name slowly slipped from the spotlight. Not with scandal, not with noise, but with silence. Instead of chasing what was fading, Olsen chose something quieter. He returned to Vancouver, mentoring young writers, shaping stories from behind the scenes, even as he continued working on Repeaters in 2010 and Distorted in 2018. In his final days, he faced illness the same way he lived, with quiet dignity. He is survived by his wife and children, and by stories that still echo. Which of his films stayed with you? His legacy lives on, soft, human, and unforgettable.
Check with Mara in case I'm resting, and I'll make sure that you guys are kept up to date.
Freeman, the quietly powerful actress known for The Young and the Restless and Sisters, has sadly passed away at the age of 66, after a brave battle with stage 4 lung cancer. Before the spotlight, she served 6 years in the United States Marine Corps, a foundation that shaped her strength. She began acting in 1995 with Coach, and over time became a familiar face across television, appearing in Seinfeld, ER, The X-Files, and Dexter. From 2010 to 2015, she led Pretty the Series, and continued working into her final years, appearing in Sisters in 2026. And then came her hardest role. Facing stage 4 cancer, she did not step away. She met it with courage, dignity, and a quiet power that never asked to be seen, but was always felt. As one tribute shared, but her legacy is not just in her work, but in how she made people feel. And perhaps that is how many will remember her, not just for the roles she played, but for the strength she carried through them. Her spirit remains gentle, strong, and unforgettable.
Actually stole, wow, look at this, I can do anything with it. Working, not working.
The man behind the laugh, Jim Carrey's heartbreaking secret life. Hollywood never told you. Picture this. A man walks onto a stage. He twists his face into something that shouldn't be humanly possible. And for a few minutes, the entire room forgets everything. Their bills, their heartbreak, their bad days. They just laugh. That man has done that for the entire world, for decades. But here is the question nobody asks. What happens when the man who carries everyone else's pain has no one to carry his? Jim Carrey. The name alone makes people smile. When you think of him, you think of Ace Ventura talking through his backside, the mask spinning across the dance floor in that green suit, Lloyd Christmas giving away a briefcase full of I owe us with a straight face. You think of $180 million in net worth. You think of a man who once commanded $20 million per film, a Hollywood record that stood for years, 3 blockbuster films in a single year, 2 Golden Globes, a face that belongs to the whole world. But the whole world never paid for that face. He did. Quietly. Alone. In ways most people will never know. James Eugene Carrey was born January 17, 1962 in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. His father, Percy, worked as an accountant. The paycheck was never enough. 6 people, 1 income, and a father who tried everything to keep the walls standing. Then one day, the walls came down entirely. Percy lost his job, and just like that, the Carrey family had no home. They packed what they had into a Volkswagen camper van and lived inside it. 6 people, a van, nowhere to go. Let that sit for a moment. This is not a metaphor, and this is not a dramatic detail added for effect. The man whose face would one day sell $350 million worth of movie tickets in a single summer slept in a van as a teenager with his entire family because there was nothing else. Percy eventually found work as a security guard at a tire factory called Titan Wheels. They moved into a small shack near the plant. Jim, 16 years old, dropped out of school. He spent his days scrubbing factory floors and cleaning toilets, not because he wanted to, because his family needed him to. He never went back to school. He never got his diploma. And then, as though the wait was not already enough, his mother fell gravely ill. Jim worked, care took, held everything together with hands that were still a child's hands. Most people would have stopped dreaming right there. He didn't. My friend introduced him to a local comedy club. Jim stepped on stage and made people laugh. That was the moment. That single, unremarkable evening in a small room. That was the crack that changed everything. He began performing regularly at Yuck Yucks in Toronto. Rodney Dangerfield noticed him. Hollywood started to feel like a real direction rather than a fantasy for someone else. Then came 1994. And the world never looked at Jim Carrey the same way again. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, turned an $11 million budget into $107 million and made an entire generation memorize the words, "Alrighty then." The Mask turned $18 million into $351 million and gave Jim a Golden Globe nomination for a performance that was somehow wilder and more emotionally honest than anything playing at the art houses that year. And then Dumb and Dumber arrived, $247 million, a comedic chemistry with Jeff Daniels so genuine that audiences demanded a sequel 20 years later, got one, ignored the critics completely, and still showed up. 3 films, 1 year, an absolute takeover, and here is the detail that never gets old. Years before any of this happened, Jim Carrey sat alone in his car on Mulholland Drive, broke, unknown, living on hope, and wrote himself a check for $10 million. Dated it several years into the future. Wrote in the memo line, "For acting services rendered." He folded it and carried it in his wallet every single day. His salary for Dumb and Dumber was exactly $10 million. That is not luck. That is a man who decided to believe when believing made no logical sense. But Jim Carrey was never satisfied with being the funniest man in the room. He wanted to be believed. The Truman Show in 1998 was his answer to every critic who had written him off. A film about a man living inside a television show he never agreed to, surrounded by people paid to love him, watched by a world that treated his pain as entertainment. Jim played it with a stillness that stopped people cold. Golden Globe, Best Actor in Drama. The conversation changed overnight. In 2000, Man on the Moon pushed further. He disappeared so completely into Andy Kaufman that cast members reported genuine discomfort. They were never sure who they were talking to. Another Golden Globe. Then Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in 2004. Quiet, devastating, a film about erasing the memory of someone you loved because keeping it hurts too much. He was not just funny, he never was. And then September 2015 arrived, and everything broke. Catriona White was 30 years old, Irish, a makeup artist and actress. She and Jim had met in 2012, fallen into something real, separated, then quietly found their way back to each other. They had been back together for only a matter of weeks. Then she was gone. She took her own life at her home, alone. Jim did not release a statement. He did not give interviews. He did not explain himself to anyone. He showed up at her funeral on October 10th, 2015, and when the cameras caught his face, there was nothing performative about it. No composure, no public mask. Just a man standing at the edge of something he could not joke his way out of, could not charm his way through, could not make anyone laugh about. And for the first time in his life, there was nothing to perform. He disappeared from Hollywood almost entirely after that. Years passed. The theories came and went, but people who paid attention understood something simpler. He was not burned out. He was not difficult. He was grieving, quietly, the way people grieve when the loss is too private for public language. In 2017, a short film called I Needed Color appeared. 6 minutes of Jim Carrey alone with paint and canvas, speaking slowly about what it means to make something from the inside of yourself. No punchline, no audience. Just a man learning, for perhaps the first time, how to exist without performing. He returned in 2020 with Sonic the Hedgehog, then the sequel in 2022. The audiences came back without hesitation, and in 2025, Jim Carrey officially confirmed he was done with retirement. New projects, new energy, and something in his interviews that had not been there before. A kind of peace, not the performed happiness of a man playing a character. Something quieter, something that felt earned. I think about that teenager scrubbing toilets in a factory, the one sleeping in a van, the one who never got to finish school because the world needed him to grow up before he was ready. He gave that world everything, every contorted expression, every physical comedy bit that left his body aching, every emotionally raw performance that cost him something real. He handed it all over, and the world laughed and moved on and asked for more. The laugh that the whole world borrowed from Jim Carrey was never free. It just looked that way from the audience.
I never got a day off. I did 2 shows a night, 3 shows on Saturday night. Did not live a normal life for 8 years.
Valerie Perrine, the luminous actress best known for Superman and her Oscar-nominated role in Lenny, has sadly passed away at the age of 82 on March 23rd, after a long and courageous battle with Parkinson's disease. She rose to fame in 1972 with Slaughterhouse-Five, but it was Lenny in 1974 that brought her an Academy Award nomination, marking the height of her artistic career. By 1978 and 1980, she became unforgettable as Eve Teschmacher in Superman. From the golden era of Las Vegas showgirl stages to Hollywood's brightest lights, she carried a presence that defined a generation. And then, life asked more of her. Diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2015, she spent years facing its quiet toll. As time passed, and even as dementia began to take hold, those close to her remembered one thing most. She never once complained. The same light that once filled the screen remained, even as her world grew smaller. She was a true inspiration, a close friend shared, and perhaps that is how she remains, not only in the roles she left behind, but in the grace she carried through it all. Her light lingers, soft, radiant, and eternal.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
He was best known for playing tough-talking
James Tolkan, the iconic character actor best known for Back to the Future and Top Gun, has sadly passed away at the age of 94 on March 27th in Saranac Lake, New York. He began his journey in 1960 with Naked City, but it was in the 1970s and 80s that his presence became unforgettable. In Serpico, 1973, he stood alongside Al Pacino, and by 1985, he became a cultural fixture as the strong, unyielding Mr. Strickland in Back to the Future, a role he carried through 1990. In Top Gun, 1986, his commanding voice as Stinger added to a legacy built not on leading roles, but on unforgettable moments. And yet, he was never the loudest star on the screen. Often cast as strict, intimidating figures, Tolkan turned what could have been limitation into identity. Through decades, from Broadway's Glengarry Glen Ross, 1984, to countless television roles, he remained steady, disciplined, and unmistakably present. Fans may remember the sharp words, slackers, but behind them was an actor of remarkable consistency and craft. His legacy lives not in spotlight alone, but in the quiet power of every scene he shaped.
On spiders coming out of books. Big, hairy, crawly.
Nicholas Brendon, the beloved actor best known for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, has sadly passed away at the age of 54 on March 20th, found peacefully in his sleep by a close friend who had been caring for him. He rose to fame in 1997 as Xander Harris, the heart and humor of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a role he carried through 2003. While others held supernatural powers, his character brought something quieter: humanity. In the years that followed, he appeared in Criminal Minds, Kitchen Confidential, and films like Coherence, building a career that resonated with audiences who saw themselves in him. But behind the screen, his journey was more complicated. In the years leading up to 2026, Brendon faced personal struggles and ongoing health challenges, including cardiac issues. And yet those close to him shared that he remained in treatment, holding on to hope, still looking toward the future. He lived with intensity, imagination, and heart, his family shared. And perhaps that is how he will be remembered, not just as the one who stood beside heroes, but as someone who carried his own quiet battles with courage. His presence remains deeply human and never forgotten.